Well, class, welcome to the moment you've all been waiting for. Yep, the last lecture. The last week number 8. However you want to classify it, here we are. We've made it through, and now we are just moments away from a wonderful holiday, Christmas, and the end of this semester. I know for a couple of you, this is the end of your career here at Cal Baptist. So congratulations to you and for enduring and working hard. It is quite an accomplishment to come to the end of your college career. So what we want to do tonight is just kind of wrap up everything. Over the last 8 weeks, we've had an opportunity to see cinema as it developed as an art form and also as it developed as a cultural phenomenon. Both influencing culture and reflecting culture. And we've had some discussions, especially in some of the live chats, about how much it influences us and how much we influence cinema. And we definitely, I think, have understood and seen that there's a lot of ebb and flow there. There's a lot of back and forth. It's a circle process where you can't necessarily always say, well, that film changed a culture, but maybe the culture was reflecting what they saw in the film and back and forth. But also what's, I think, very interesting is that you see that cinema is not just an accident. It's not just something you pay $10 for. I can't believe I say $10, but $10, $11, whatever it is now to go see a movie at night, and just you absorb the hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's it. It just happened. No, there is an idea behind it. There's a concept there. There is art forms. There are different values and ways of making this art form come to life for us. And so I hope the next time you go to a movie that in some way this class helped you. I can't remember if I said it at the beginning of the lecture, at the beginning of the first week or two, but inevitably I've always had students at the end of this class go, I'll never look at movies the same way I did before. And I'm glad to hear that, because that is part of the idea. Is, like I said, these don't happen by accident. Every camera angle, every music score, every actor, they all have a purpose, and it's often to convey a story. And we, as a generation of people, as a culture, we have grown up with it, and we understand its subliminal messages. Now, for those of you who aren't the conspiracy theorist, I'm not one either. I'm not saying subliminal message where it's like, worship Satan. No, what I'm saying is that there is always something implied, even if there aren't words being said. The position of the camera, the way the lighting's set, the music score, and it's to convey emotion, to convey a story. And that's the reality behind this art form. So I hope you've learned from that. Now, let's do just a couple quick housekeeping. A good majority of you have turned in all of your work to me. You can go in the gradebook and see what I've got in there. I think the only couple things I'm lacking are I need to get the live chat up there. If you've attended 2 out of the 4 that I've actually offered. 3 originally scheduled. I just offered to make up. 2 of you joined me. Nice talking with you tonight. But if you've done those. And then also, the only thing I don't have paper-wise in there is Citizen Kane and the Body Snatchers. You should be also making sure that you did the discussions. A few of you have missed the Body Snatcher discussion. Just a quick paragraph on the article that I had you read and just some thoughts there. And then Breathless, I just had you do the discussion on that. So make sure you sign in and do that as well. So that's where we're at now. We are heading into the last paper, and that will be on the movie that you're going to watch, Jaws, and that will be posted here probably as you're watching these lectures. You will see the posted write-up with the final attached. So the goal tonight really is I kind of want to see here in the middle of the 1970s as Jaws come out, can Jaws be seen as the culmination of cinema as it developed? Now, let me define that for you. What I mean is, when we watch the movie Jaws, can we see all of the major developments in cinema that we have observed? Now, obviously, there's more. There are different developments. We didn't get to pay a lot of attention to European films. We didn't obviously look at every American film or Asian films, anything in that regards. But what we saw as it developed, when we watch the movie Jaws, can we see those influences there? Do we see montage style of editing? Do we see seamless editing? Do we see unique lighting? Do we see camera angles? Do we see unique storytelling patterns or methods? And do we see handheld camera movement? All of those sort of things that we saw over the last 7 weeks. Can we see elements of that in Jaws? I'm not saying that Jaws is the direct descendant of Birth of a Nation. But what I'm saying is, can we see that D.W. Griffith's idea of an epic narrative film, does Jaws have any relationship to that? Can we see that Eisenstein's montage style of telling a story in Battleship Potemkin, his quick editing, close-ups, wide shots, quick-paced action sequences, can we see that reflected in Jaws? Even the movie you just watched last week, Breathless, on-location shooting, handheld camera movements, those sort of things. Is that reflected in Jaws? Did that have any influence on Steven Spielberg as he made this movie? So that's what I'm kind of looking for. To set the scene, Steven Spielberg made Jaws, and he, obviously, this is his big breakthrough movie. He had made a made-for-television movie called Duel. He made another movie, his first movie actually was Sugarland Express. And both of them were modestly received, but Jaws really is his breakthrough picture. What made this movie work? What did Steven Spielberg tap into? Obviously, he had a talent for visual storytelling, but why did this work for him and the other two movies didn't? Really what we're looking at is that there was a generation of filmmakers that included Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, even Francis Ford Coppola, Brian De Palma, a lot of these guys that were coming out of a new phenomenon in the 60s and 70s called film school. A lot of people now, some 30, 35 years later, are starting to name this the film school generation. And the reality is that these guys went to school with the goal to watch movies and to learn how to make movies. Now, John Ford, Orson Welles, they didn't have that. A lot of the Alfred Hitchcock, a lot of the directors, they didn't have film school. They went, they learned the trade, perhaps working on the set, and for one reason or the other, Orson Welles' story coming from the theater and the radio, whatever the reason is, they were able to make it and become a director. Now, a young person could go, I'm going to go to USC, I'm going to go to NYU, I'm going to study film, I want to be a director. And that was really a unique phenomenon. So we'll pick up in the next section on that film school generation and what was so special about them. You can read a little bit about it in Chapter 20 as we look at Hollywood from 1965 on, particularly just on through the 70s there. So see you in a moment.